Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope that everybody is having a great afternoon. I hope you guys are outside soaking up that sun. I hope you're enjoying this warm weather, at least while you can, before it gets down cold again, unfortunately for us where I am. Um, I do want to apologize and let you guys know that I have been kind of absent. I've had a few health issues kind of going on, and I had some equipment mess up on me, unfortunately. And I am, trying to get back. I do want to finish these flower letters. This is what I have left from the series that we had started, and we had got through like the first 7 letters of this, and I do want to jump back in, starting with letter 8. We're gonna start with that today, and we're gonna try to finish these. I have every one of them. I just kind of got sick, and I couldn't kind of finish them for you guys. But if you guys are interested in it, or anybody that was like following it, or if you have letters missing and you need to have a quick recap or something of it, I will finish this for you guys. I did not open them. They're still sealed. I was waiting, saving them for you guys, so that I can open them with you and that we can kind of enjoy them. And I know there's been a few not really a whole lot of changes. I did kind of change the name of my channel in case you guys are, kind of wondering. I just wanted to do something simple. I just wanted something simple. I wanted something basic. I wanted something that kind of expressed me more, and that I am kind of able to express more things that I'm interested in and that I want to share with you guys. And I kind of just feel like the change is kind of going to be good. We're just going to take it nice and slow. We're going to see how it goes. And we're just going to enjoy it. And like I said, just take it slow. And we're just going to see what happens. We are going to hop over and start with letter 8. For anybody that needs like a recap or refreshment of the letters, I do have the first 7 letters already posted on the channel. So if you guys are interested in it and you want to kind of listen to the first couple of letters that I did, you're more than welcome to go and check them out. I have them on the channel. So we're going to hop over and start with letter 8. September 29th, 1817. Dear Grandmama, it would seem Finn is seeking to make amends for his behavior towards me the night of our musical evening. You remember when Miss Harriet insisted I play the piano for our guest, and Finn not only failed to come to my rescue, but rather joined with the others trying to bully me into playing. I know he didn't mean any harm by it, but it was quite mortifying. I told him as much when he asked about it the following day. Since then, it seems by way of apology, he has begun leaving little scraps of handwritten music in my path. However, instead of giving me entire sheets of music, I'm finding that they are awkwardly chosen fragments of various folk songs instead of complete tunes. I believe it is a game he is trying to initiate, though the rules are quite strange. Some of the songs I'm able to recognize right away, based on a few notes he's given me on the prompt, but most of them are quite obscure selections, and some have even scrambled a bit. The latter have proven to be such maddening little puzzles that there is nothing left to be done but to take them to Magnolia Grove and pluck them out on my piano front in private. In doing this, I have discovered how much Lord Windermere's ball exercises are improving the mobility in my left hand. Yesterday, for the first time since the accident, I was able to play a song to its entirety. I chose one of the favorites, Beethoven's Piano Sonnet No. 14. I was so very pleased to be playing with any degree of control that I wept through the entire final movement. I believe I am growing more and more accustomed to having guests at Avery Abbey. However, I am pleased to report that until recently I had managed to avoid all extended excursions Finn has organized. One of the last was to visit Catworth in Derbyshire. I was still recovering from my ankle sprain after Abel threw a shoe and unseated me. The 3 blissful days I had all by myself at Magnolia Grove without Any hostess duties were quite heavenly, I assure you. I know it would not be able to avoid all outings, however. In fact, last week, Finn proposed a new scheme for our party. He said the days of summer were nearly behind us, and wonderful if we might like to savor the few that were left by venturing to Brighton for a sea bathing holiday. My first inclination was, of course, to decline and stay here in Devon once again. But Juliana assured me she positively had her heart set on me accompanying her. Finn was ready with a response when I proposed that if sea bathing was wanted, why could we not simply go down to the seashore near Magnolia Grove for it? He said the beaches near Magnolia Grove were too steep and rocky to properly enjoy. And besides, there were no bathing machines for the ladies to use. He was correct, of course, but I do so dislike being confined to a bathing machine when I am sea bathing. I've bathed in the sea nearly all my life without one. I know you only allow it because hardly anyone ever comes to Magnolia Beach, but still, bathing machines are so constrictive. Juliana and a few of our other guests supported Finn's plan from the start, but the rest of our party became quite enthusiastic about our holiday when Lord Windermere said that if the regent was not in Brighton, he could secure us a town of the royal pavilion. The prince is expanding while we were there. In the end, I was obliged to submit. The carriages were called for, and the following day off we went on our final summer holiday. When we arrived in Brighton, we settled into our lodgings and then ventured down to the seashore. The sandy beaches was lovely, and the water was almost warm. As expected, the bathing machines were a ridiculous nuisance. I do, however, understand the necessity of them when a party of both ladies and gentlemen are present. After sea bathing, Lord Windermere escorted us all to the royal pavilion, where we met his connection to Prince Regent, the architect, Mr. John Nash. The pavilion is still very much under construction, but dear Grandmama, I felt entirely as though I had left Great Britain and stepped into the Orient. When approaching from the outside, one feels as though one has come across a palace in India. However, on the inside of the pavilion is all Chinese, red hand-painted wallpaper and rich garnished carpets as far as the eye can see. There's also quite a peculiar excess of golden dragons lurking around every corner, and I have never seen so many crystal chandeliers in all my life. While I was studying the golden ceiling of His Majesty's music room, Lord Windermere came up beside me and asked what I thought of the Prince Regent's Brighton home. I was so overwhelmed by my surroundings that I spoke without thinking and told him I suppose I felt as much as the countrymen do, that never has such a monstrosity of vulgar opulence existed in or has been paid for by England. Thank goodness Mr. Nash had gone to speak with one of his workmen on the matter, for the Duke laughed outright. Then he assured me that the Duke of Wellington said something quite similar when the topic came up at the House of Lords. I must say, I feel quite grateful being of the same mind as Lord Wellington about it all. If he took the trouble in saying such, there must be some merit to our opinion on the matter. But truly, Grandmama, if the rumors alone of what takes place in the pavilion when the prince is in Brighton are not enough to make a proper young lady loathe the place, then the extravagance surely is. I can, however, generally compliment His Majesty on his gardens. They were quite lovely. After a few more days of sea bathing and seeing the sights in Brighton, we were all anxious to return to Hartland in time for the Michaelmas. Juliana and I shared a carriage home with two other ladies, while several of the gentlemen, including Finn, rode horseback. I couldn't help sensing that something significant had changed between our Finn and Juliana while we were in Brighton, for he was rarely not in sight of her window, and I caught sight of some secret exchange happening between them more than once. Then today, when I was on my way back from puzzling out one of the scraps of music Finn has been leaving around for me, I crossed paths with Lord Windermere. He looked quite pleased with himself for some reason, and when I asked him to elaborate, he simply said that I could be patient enough to wait until Cook's roast goose feast that night. I would soon know the whole of it. With that, I left him and hurried down to the kitchen to assure all was in order for our Michaelmas feast. You would be glad to know Cook is using our Rabbinic and blackberry jam recipe for dessert. Then I went to my room to dress for the occasion. When I entered my room, I was greeted by the familiar scent of magnolias. A vase of them sat on my dressing table. This gift of flowers has been happening for some weeks now. I know they're not being placed in my quarters by the servants because the trees from the grove stopped blooming in June. These magnolias are from a hothouse, and my lady's maid Gracie continues to refuse to give me the giver's identity. I assume they are another peace offering from Finn, for it was also he who bullied me into riding with the others when Abel threw her shoe. I've been trying to let him know I bear no ill will by wearing the flowers in my hair as I used to. I believe he understands, for he's begun communicating on my appearance again. In fact, everyone has begun commenting on how well I looked recently. It wasn't until the other ladies in our party arrived that I realized how very little trouble I have taken over my appearance the last 2 years. Last month, I even bothered to ask Juliana, who has seen the season's fashions firsthand, to help me order several gowns and other items from London in order to refresh my wardrobe. She helped me select both the full and the very fashionable three-quarter sleeves to cover much of my scarring, so I won't feel the need to wear my gloves quite so often. I truly forgot how wonderful it feels to put on a new dress. After Gracie helped me don on a lovely new green muslin, I hurried down to greet our guests in the dining room. Juliana looked uncommonly pretty in a lovely pink satin that set her chestnut curls off so sweetly. When dinner was announced, we all took our place. I rung the bell for dinner to be served and joined the conversation happening near me. When several minutes had passed and the roast goose and fixins had still yet to arrive, I looked to Finn. He was entirely absorbed in Juliana, as he had been more than ever since returning from Brighton. Worrying over our guest's holiday feast, I glanced around the table, almost making up my mind to head to the kitchen myself, when I felt the Duke's eyes upon me. He was sitting at my right, smiling at me. We have shared many private jokes and observations since the day he showed me his injury in the grove, and even more so after I helped conceal him from Miss Harriet in the library. But there was a very different look in his eyes tonight. The look he was giving me just then seemed both admiring and expectant. I leaned on my hand and asked him what he was smiling about. He leaned on his own and told me he always smiled with such loveliness was before him. He has been saying such things a lot of late, and I do wish he wouldn't, for they make me feel quite malandrant. But tonight he said he had 2 reasons to smile, and one of them was because he was privy to a secret that I was about to discover, one he was certain would please me as much as it pleased him. Before I could press him to explain himself, there was a tinkling of crystal from the other end of the table, and Finn stood with his wine glass in hand. He welcomed us all to the Michaelmas feast and thanked everyone for spending the last 3 months with us at Avery Abbey. He spent a little time talking about Michael the Archangel and told the traditional tale of Lucifer and the blackberry bush, mentioning a few of the other notable angels we were celebrating tonight. Then he turned to Juliana and said the following: "By the angel I wish to celebrate and honor most this Michaelmas is the fair Juliana, who in agreeing to become my wife has become to me the dearest angel of all. The delighted applause that arose from the table in response to our dear Phineas' news brought tears to my eyes. I stood and ran to Juliana, who, Grandmama, will become my sister and your granddaughter-in-law on the 1st of November. I am exquisitely happy for them both. Juliana is the perfect match for Finn, and he for her. I know they would be very happy. Yet I am ashamed to say that as we all toasted the happy couple a second time over bannock and blackberry jam tonight, I also felt real remorse. The knowledge that Lord Windermere will return to Lake Country and Winter Castle as soon as Finn and Juliana are wed has disturbed my mind considerably. I know I have mentioned more than once how much I miss Magnolia Grove and my quiet solitude, but dear Grandmama, the thought of Lord Windermere's departure has left me feeling far more desolate than I imagined I would feel at his parting. I have not been oblivious to the fact that I have been developing feelings for his grace. How can I not, when he has bestowed such gentlemanly kindness upon me from the moment of his arrival? But it is far worse than that. Something has begun to settle upon my mind that I have struggled against to no avail. It is the comprehension that were I still as marriageable today as I was 2 years ago, I believe that Lord Windermere has all the qualities and more that I would wish in a gentleman's suitor. He is just the sort of man one could share a companion marriage with, as you did with Grandpapa. Alas, truth can be a dreadful thing. And even if I did still hope for matrimony, how could such a man love me when he discovers what I really am? Your granddaughter, Adelaide Magnolia. And then down here in red, you guys, if you haven't followed my letters or you've been reading them, you guys know that you can go to flowerletter.com and you can get on their website and just find the letter that you are currently reading and click it. You can go to it and you could choose what letter you're on, and it will tell you a little bit more information, like the words that are highlighted here in red. It'll just go into a little bit more detail about that and about what's going on in the story if you want just a little more in depth on it. So that was all of the letter, and I just want to say congratulations to Phineas and Juliana on their wedding. I hope we do get to hear about that later on in one of the later letters that we're going to read. And you guys let me know what you think. I was expecting for them to have a wedding. I knew it. I was just going to kind of go through and show you a few things again at the end. Since she was talking about the bathing, I did want to kind of show you that again. After you read the letter, things pretty much kind of make sense to you after that. And then, of course, here was a picture of them bathing, and I guess the women had to be in these little kind of compartment like things. And if you guys ask me, I don't believe that Finn is the one leaving these folk song scraps. I believe it is Lord Windermere, but that is just my speculation. But I do believe it, and I believe he's leaving the flowers too. And I do want to try this recipe. It looks super simple, and I do think I'm going to try it. If I do, I'll let you guys know what I think. Also, there is one thing that I kind of wanted to go over with you guys. I do know, I believe it was in this letter. I think it was this letter. Anyway, it mentions the Michaelmas. Okay, so I Googled that because I wasn't for sure what that actually was. That is a holiday that they celebrate for Michael the Archangel, plus like a few of the other angels, and they get together, and it's like a traditional thing where they tell tales and stuff, and then of course they have a dinner, and the traditional dinner is the goose. I'm not sure if some countries still celebrate this. If they do, you guys can let me know, leave it in the comments or something. I had never heard of it before, but it is something that you celebrate, I believe, once in September and once in November, I believe it said. But yeah, basically it's just a tradition that some people celebrate for basically the Archangel. I did want to kind of get that in there if I can. If there's some of the facts that I can try to get for you guys, I will. But you guys, let me know what you think about this letter. I'm super excited to be getting into it again, and I'm going to try to get these out for you guys as quickly as I can. And I will see you guys back here in my next letter. Bye.